To prepare for sewing your pockets onto your wall organizer, you need to first pin them on. So you'll take a tray of pins and start to pin. I always suggest that you start with your bigger pockets and then get your smaller pockets finished once you've done the large ones first. So I'm going to start with the pocket with a flap, and just to make sure that you have it lined up so that it's parallel with the bottom edge and looks parallel with the side edge, and then go ahead and pick up both your pocket and organizer, poke the pin in through both layers, and then poke it back out so you can see the sharp end. If you only poke in and not out, you can actually pull the pin right out. If I poke it in and out like this, then it secures itself to the edge. For all of your pocket pieces, about 3 or 4 pins is enough. Put your pins somewhere away from the edges because you're going to be sewing around the edges and you don't want to hit the edges with your pins. The flap I would probably position after I've done the actual pocket itself, but you know roughly that you want it to be above the pocket and fairly close to the pocket. So put a few pins in each pocket, just to hold them in place, and then you'll be ready for sewing. Notice I haven't pinned my flap on yet, and I also have not pinned this on. This is my elastic holder. I've just pinned all my major pieces on. So this is now ready to be taken to your sewing machine and sew. I'm ready to start sewing on my pockets. I'm going to bring my organizer over to my machine and turn on my machine, making sure everything is set properly. So check that your settings are correct for regular sewing. Your panel in the front should be set at number 1, and then your 2 sliders over on the side here, the top one should be at 0 and the bottom one should be at 2.5. So if they are not like that, double check that they are set in that manner. That's what they should look like. When that looks good, you can start setting up to sew. I would suggest that you start with your largest pieces first, get those done before you move on to your other pieces. To sew a pocket, you're going to start at the top corner on one side, and you always start with a small forward and a small reverse to make sure that that seam is tied at the top like a knot. For all of your pockets, you're going to be lining up the edge of your sewing foot with the edge of the pocket fabric. So put it so you can just barely see that pocket fabric on the edge, and that you can see you're going to be starting at the top edge of the pocket. Put your foot down and then simply roll your needle down. Remember, always turning your needle towards you. And then go ahead, go a few stitches forward, stop and reverse back to the top of the pocket. When you reach the top, then you can go forward. As you go forward, you're staying on the edge of the pocket, keeping it on the edge of your foot. That is your guide to keep your lines nice and straight. Your hands control the fabric as you go. As you approach a pin, if it seems like it's in your way, just make sure your needle is down. And then, if your needle is down, you can lift your foot and pull that pin out of the way and put it on your pin tray. Don't forget, foot back down before you keep going. As we approach the corner, you want to stop before you reach the edge, about the same distance that this is from this edge. So you want to keep your seam allowances the same. So if you're getting close, it's okay to just go really slow, even use the hand wheel to guide the needle where you want it. Once you're kind of in that corner, you're going to lift and pivot. Make sure the needle is down when you do this. Put your foot back down, go across the bottom. Keeping the fabric flat as you go, removing pins. If your next corner comes, again, make sure you get a little ways away, about the width of your foot away from the edge. Stop with the needle down, lift, pivot, come up the other side. Go to the very, very top edge of the pocket and then reverse. Oops. Forward, and the first pocket is done. Pull the project out, trim your threads very close to the fabric, and go back and cut your starter threads as well. And you will do the same for your remaining pockets. Notice that the top edge was left open. That's because this is a pocket. We need somewhere to put things in. If you sewed that across the top, you would be sewing it shut. I can do my flap now that I have got the pocket sewn on because I know where the top edge is. I'll probably put it close to the top edge so it just covers the top of my pocket. But all of your pockets can be done in the same manner.